Let's look at how to set up employee pay templates so you can stop creating employee payslips from scratch every pay run. Access the employee's record and select Pay Template. The pay template has sections that impact the employee's pay amount and the amount of tax and national insurance deducted. Read the explanation for each section to learn more. Generally, each pay template starts with the employee's primary earnings from the employment information you entered. Xero calculates the hours for employees with an annual salary as the weekly hours from the working pattern multiplied by 52 weeks, divided by 12 months. In our example, this equates to 160.33 hours per month. The rate is the annual salary divided by 12 months, divided by hours per month, which Xero has calculated as £23.39, rounded to the nearest penny. Xero doesn't include these details on the payslip sent to the employee, so they won't see these figures. They'll just see their salary amount for the period. For hourly paid employees, Xero calculates the hours per month in the same way as salaried employees. The rate is the amount that you entered into the employment information. Xero calculates the total amount as monthly hours multiplied by the rate per hour. An employee template should contain all the employee's regular pay items for deductions, benefits, reimbursements, employer pensions, and earnings orders. You can add one-off pay items and update existing ones when drafting a pay run. Only items you have set up in payroll settings will be available to add to an employee's pay template or pay slip. So ensure you've added all the items you need before setting up your employee templates and running your payroll. Let's add regular pay items to our employee's pay template. First, we'll click Earnings to add other earnings. Click the drop-down menu to view a list of earnings and statutory pay items. Once selected, most options will allow you to enter a total amount. If the amount stays consistent, enter the value in the relevant field. If the amount is likely to change each pay period, leave the value at 0 and update it during the pay run as needed. We'll add overtime hours and commission. As you can see, we've got boxes to complete if the values remain consistent. The commission and employee overtimes will likely fluctuate, so I'll leave them as 0 and update them as part of the pay run. You'll notice that Xero has calculated my overtime rate based on the conditions of the pay item. In this example, the rate is twice the employee's standard rate. The pay template for an off-payroll worker has 3 sections, as many pay items aren't relevant to them. You'll need to add a pay item to the template for the amount they invoice you for the work done. Click Earnings, then select the relevant pay item from the drop-down menu. We've set Contractor Day Rate as a regular earnings pay item, so I'll choose that from the list. Then, I can enter the hours and rate as needed. Let's add £500 as the value of our contractor's day rate and leave the hours nil, as they'll probably fluctuate each month. We'll add them in when we run the payroll. Back to our payrolled worker. Let's look at deductions. Click Deduction to add more pay items. When we click the drop-down menu, we'll see a list of the deduction pay items. Add a pension deduction item in this section if you provide other pension schemes outside of auto-enrollment. If you switch to Xero Payroll from another system and have employees already enrolled in your workplace pension, add the employee contribution item as a deduction. However, if you've added a new employee who will be assessed for auto-enrollment by Xero, do not add the deduction item. Xero will automatically add the deduction to the pay template once they're enrolled into the workplace pension. Once you've selected the deduction item, complete the details as required. Let's add childcare vouchers and leave the amount at £243, which is the value of the pay item we entered in the settings. Next, we can see a section for benefits. If you haven't registered with HMRC for payrolling of benefits, you won't be able to add benefit pay items to an employee's pay template. In our example, we've registered for payrolling of benefits, so we can add benefit pay items to the pay template. Click Benefit, then select a pay item from the list. We'll choose Bupa Health. The annual benefit shown is the value of the benefit in the payroll settings. If relevant, we can enter the amount contributed by the employee to reduce the overall total benefit. In our example, the employee doesn't contribute to the health insurance, so we'll leave the amount as £0. Then click Add to save the benefit. Moving on, we have a section for reimbursements. Click Reimbursement to add pay items to this section. Use the drop-down menu to choose a reimbursement. Let's select mileage to add it to the pay template. We can enter a description, such as mileage claim, and as the value will change each pay period, we'll keep the amount on the template as £0. Let's move on to employer pensions. Click Pension, then select an item from the list. Add employer pension contributions for pension schemes outside of auto-enrollment, or workplace pensions for employees enrolled before moving to Xero. If the employee is being assessed for auto-enrollment by Xero, do not add a pay item for employer pensions, as Xero will automatically update the payroll template once the employee is enrolled. The final section is earnings orders, where you can add amounts legally required to be deducted from employee pay. Click Earnings Order, then choose the relevant item from the drop-down menu. Complete the details as mandated by law. Review the pay items you've added, then click Save to update the employee pay template.